Commit to the play and don't feel like you're the worst one in the class.
It's really cool to kind of see them think outside of the box.
Sometimes those criticisms aren't necessarily right.
It's a great idea, but it has to be educational.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Green Room Podcast. I'm your host, Wesley Schofield, and today we are joined by the other man behind the camera, Zack Placencia. Yeah. So I've known Zack for a long time. We met in high school through skateboarding, and honestly, just that was a cool transformation of, an origin story. But we're not here to talk about skateboarding. Not this time, at least. Maybe we'll touch on it. We're here to talk about video. What you're watching now. Unless you're listening, then it's irrelevant. But video is something we both do. It's kind of our full-time jobs. And I just kind of want to talk today about what got you started with video.
Well, I guess because we started skateboarding and we would go skate a little bit, and the whole thing is like, if you don't get the trick on film, then it didn't happen. So all the time Wesley would be doing all these cool tricks because I couldn't do anything. So he would be like, pull out his phone and be like, hey, film this for me. I'm like, okay. And then that was kind of fun. And then as I got better, I wanted to kind of like show him things I could do too. So I would film myself, and then I'd film my other friends, and then just kind of turn into actually filming good stuff.
I think that's definitely my origin story too. I mean, yeah, skating and filming go hand in hand. It's kind of hard to do one without the other. Even if like you don't pursue film fully, like every skater in the group is eventually tasked with filming, and there's some friends you really don't want to ask, but you have no choice. There's been a couple lines I filmed with, like, when I used to hang out with like Ivan and all them, like, oh man, it might as well have been an earthquake while it was filming. So shaky. So now that we are doing video full time, what is kind of like your relationship with video? Because I guess we should talk about that you put a weekly video on your channel. Kind of, it's about us, you, the company, everything. But now that like you come to work, you edit videos, what's that like?
So half the time it just feels like we're playing around, like when we edit this video or when we make the marquee. Those are always fun. So it doesn't really feel like an actual job. It just feels like just editing a video like I would normally in my room on my computer or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Now that we have our own company on the side, what do you think is the hardest part about being a videographer for a living?
Just trying to like figure out the whole logistics of planning the shoot, talking to the client, things like that. Once I'm on the shoot, it's super easy. But everything before and after, the whole money, the whole contracts, stupid stuff like that, that's definitely the hardest part.
I would definitely agree. Because kind of once you're in your creative zone, kind of like I would say with painting, like the hardest thing probably isn't doing it. It's probably like being inspired, wanting to do it, thinking about it. So with our stuff, a lot of people assume it's show up, point a camera, we're good.
Yeah.
It's hours of planning, double checking things. Oh, you forgot a battery. Now you're done. You're done. It's over. What's been your favorite thing you've made with video?
Favorite video?
Mm-hmm.
I don't even really know off the top of my head. I really liked that B one we did. That was fun just because it was so random and it actually turned out pretty good, I thought. But honestly, like I think my favorite thing to make is just my stupid YouTube videos every week.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, okay, talk to us about that. How did you get started? How long have you been doing it?
Oh, frick. Okay. So it's been about a year now since I've been putting videos on YouTube. And I guess I got into it because my brother and I would hang out all the time, and we would do a whole bunch of stupid stuff. And I was like, man, like we should have recorded that. That way we can go back and watch it later. Because I think that's always fun to go back and watch like old home videos and things like that. So one day I was just like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to make a video every single week. And that's what I've been doing. And most of them are obnoxious. And then there's some that are like really chill and really about like the company and everything. But it's always a good time.
Yeah, I look forward to the uploads every week, even though most of the time I'm in them now because we're together all the time. But especially like when you were in Alaska or just up in the Mesa Valley area, like I could not wait for the new episode to come out. So it's just like, what do they do this time? What are they like? And even when you go up there to visit now, and I don't go with you, I'm just like, I wonder what they did. Like, it's fun, and like seeing the following you've built over the last year. You're at how many subscribers?
I think like 157.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Like, I've been attempting the YouTube grind for like multiple years, really putting a lot of work into it, then giving up, and then whatever. And even now, we've talked about, I've been in this dilemma that I'm busy making stuff for here. I don't feel like making stuff outside. It's difficult. But what is okay, you've put a weekly video out for almost a year now.
Yeah.
What's been the hardest part about that?
Sometimes it's about just figuring out what to film, and other times it's about just actually no, I think that's it.
Just figuring out what to
yeah,
do?
just figuring out like what to film sometimes. Other than that, I don't think it's really been too hard actually. It's been more fun than anything.
Like what to talk about, what to actually do, or kind of both? Like, because I know like you do tell stories, but it's really documentation more than anything.
Yeah. I guess because like sometimes I film throughout the whole week. I get like a clip from Monday, a clip from Wednesday, and then trying to put it all together to actually make sense in a full week. Sometimes it doesn't work and it's just like pieces. And other times it kind of flows to like a whole theme throughout the week. So I guess that's kind of hard, but I just kind of throw it out there, and then if it's good or not, whatever.
So you've been making videos in a very highly populated town, a pretty remote town in Alaska, and now here. I would say your best chances of interesting content is a more populated area. Would you agree?
Yeah, probably there's a lot more places to go, a lot more dumpsters to hit up.
Yeah. So then in contrast of that compared to when you were in Alaska, like I'm mostly trying to ask in terms of if someone who lives here in WIllcox wants to get started making videos, but they feel like the town's boring, what would you say?
Oh, well, I guess it kind of depends on what you want to video. For me, it's like a vlog, so it's basically whatever I'm doing. And I like to incorporate like my friends in it a lot, like what we're kind of doing together, fun stuff that we do. But you can definitely make videos if you're in a small town. You can definitely find something to film. You can film a tree for like 3 hours, dude, and like it'll look cool or whatever. Like you can find anything to film where you're at. That's what I think.
I would agree. How do you get past that first step of, I don't know what to even do, I only have my phone?
Just turn on the camera.
And just see what happens?
Yeah. Start pointing it, start filming stuff. Because what I found is if I don't know what to do, I turn on the camera and I just start filming things. And then I get inspired to film other things, and it might actually turn into like an actual story or like a theme or something legit.
You started filming out on phones when we were together.
Yeah.
And then you got, what kind of camera was that, like first DSLR you had?
Oh, I don't think it was a DSLR. It was a Canon like Power Shot, like a big one. Like
and we had that obnoxious fisheye on it.
Yeah.
And now what are you shooting on?
This one right here, the Lumix GH5S. It's okay.
So I know we talk about cameras a lot, but what is something you look for in a camera?
The reason I got this camera is because I really wanted slow motion, mostly because we filmed skateboarding and I really wanted to see the board kind of move, because that's always cool. Other than that, like 4K, so like really a good high quality, and one that can do well when it's dark, like in low light. So like you don't have to have a ton of lights to light up a scene. It can basically make its own light with ISO.
So we've mentioned that just starting the video sometimes is the best thing to do, kind of not having a plan at all. You're just going to see what happens. I've noticed in my own work that definitely works a lot, especially with B-roll. Like there's never a plan for B-roll sequences, and if you guys don't know what B-roll is, we'll maybe throw up like a B-roll edit in the middle of this. It's mostly just like cinematic detail shots of stuff. I know there's probably a much more technical cinema term for it, but when you actually plan out your videos, when you storyboard them, there's a clear intention. What's that process like? I mean, the actual storyboarding, but also the creation process, the brainstorming.
Like when I'm creating a video?
Mhm.
Okay. I usually just kind of sit down at my desk, start thinking like, okay, how's this going to start? If I don't know how it's going to start, I might already have something in mind from the moment I started talking or the moment I started thinking of it. Like it usually comes to like, I picture the shot and I might have like one shot in mind and I kind of build around that, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. I've noticed too, like when I usually, a lot of my projects, I have the end in mind first. And like, I might have the first shot really packed in my head because I want the music to hit immediately when it opens. I want it to feel pretty like gratifying as soon as it starts. But the middle is really hard for me. I always have to kind of like keep coming back. Like if I'm at scene 3, I'm always wondering like, well, what's scene 4 going to be? Then I have to like kind of, like when you're editing a video, you rewatch the first like 5 seconds over and over and over again. That's even me storyboarding. Unless it's like 2 of us.
Yeah.
Because then the second you get stumped, it's like, well, what would happen if we did this? And then it's always, well, then this would happen. Okay, then now what? Because over the summer, I took a storytelling workshop. And the thing was always to ask yourself, like, if this, then what? And like, it could be applied to any situation. Because it definitely needs to make sense. But I think it works especially well with comedy.
Yeah.
If this, then what? Because then you can just be extra ridiculous. Yeah. Every single time. So now that we've been doing video for a while, I like to go back and watch my old ones because they're really cringeworthy. And at the time, people were saying, this is so good. Oh my gosh. And now you're just like, what's going on? Do you feel that same way?
Oh yeah, for sure.
How do you think it's come along? Is it just maybe time and experience, or like, how has this process evolved over time for you?
Of me like getting better?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, like I make a video, I think it's great, and then like a month later I rewatch it and I'm like, oh crap, I messed this up and this and this. So I think that just comes with experience and just continually learning, because you find out like, oh, like I did this the wrong way, or there's a better way to do this. So you just build off your old mistakes, I guess.
I know, like, especially when I first started, I would see, like, Peter McKinnon's extremely buttery, high-definition B-roll. I'm just like, I need to do that right now.
Yeah.
And so then, like, watching even, like, Parker Walbeck, like, his glide cam skills, like, that's the whole reason I bought a glide cam.
Yeah.
It's because of that. And, like, now that I've used it, like, sometimes my footage looks like his, and a lot of times it definitely doesn't. But it's interesting, like, when you first are starting to get this taste for what you want to make, and you clearly have no skills to match your taste at all. Like, it's like you're just daydreaming about how far it is. But now we can do a lot of the things we thought we wanted to do initially. And now there's always new things that we want to do. Mm-hmm. What's the next step for what you want to do? Like, what's some techniques you haven't done yet that you think are pretty cool?
Well, I still haven't done the double exposure thing.
Mm-hmm.
I want to do that because I think that looks pretty cool. I want to get better like at hyperlapses, different time lapses, stop motion. I think just better like everything, like even glide cam, because like sometimes it's all wobbly and looks like it make you seasick or something like that.
Yeah, warp stabilizer can't save those clips.
Yeah, so just trying to like improve on basically everything, and then touching on a couple different skills that I haven't ever tried before.
And I want to make a point very, very clear in this interview, this conversation. We have not gone to college for this.
Yeah.
It's been like we have both paid for a single online course, and that's it.
Yeah. And like it's crazy that that's the only kind of education we have, and we actually have been able to make some money off of it.
Yeah.
And I got this freaking job, dude, because of it.
Yeah, like this is what we do 9 to 5 pretty much every day, and then outside of this, we do it again, and then outside of that, we do it for leisure. Like That's crazy. And a lot of times too, with like, let's say like sports and stuff, there's like training. Like you do these things to get better at this. But in a creative field, you don't think of it that way. You're just like, oh, I just want to be better. And then sometimes that mentality holds you back because you aren't better now and you wish you were better. And then you're just like, I'm clearly not good at it. But for us, like doing video a lot, it's just, you don't even realize you're training. But sometimes like I would go out in the back alley and glide cam back and forth all the time and just try to keep it level.
Yeah.
And like that's something I don't think is talked about enough is that like sometimes you do just got to treat your art like training, or else if nothing else is going to motivate you, like everything can be taught and learned. And so clearly after doing it all, I realized like there might be like a little bit of natural skill at anything. But like I would say from where I started to now, like I wasn't totally sure I could achieve that. And now that I'm at this point, I'm like, I'm pretty good. Look at that. But I know there's so much farther to go.
Yeah.
So like I'm never satisfied, I guess.
Yeah.
And I've noticed like especially you, like you are a like ferocious learner. Like if there's a problem, it's just immediately like, how can I fix it? How can I do it better? Like there's no like, maybe I can't do it. It's just all go for you. Why? Where does that come from?
Why?
Yeah, where's that mentality from?
Maybe I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, but I understand that perfection like doesn't it can come over time. The game like that one perfect shot or whatever, you're not going to get it right away, but working towards it, I think you can get there. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's why.
So if I'm thinking I need to go to film school, or maybe I'm just not good, what would your advice be?
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Don't go to film school.
No, I looked into it and it was way expensive, and like I was totally gonna go because I thought like that's what I really wanted to do, and then it was too expensive, so I was like frick, and then and then I found the online course that Wesley and I have been taking, and way cheaper. It was it was way more in depth and probably taught a lot like better and quicker than I would have learned at school. Mm-hmm. So I took that and. Find something like that. Find something online. Or just look it up on YouTube. Yeah,
I think everything we learn is on YouTube. And it's interesting because when you and I show up to a shoot, someone's like, you guys are the professionals, right? And we're just like, yeah, I get it. Like, we're just a bunch of dorks, man.
They call us professionals, but like the other day I was making a stupid YouTube video. Like a dweeb.
And so it's funny because people assume that like, for seasoned veterans. I look up something every single day. Like if I don't know how to do it, if like I'm stuck editing, or like literally I'm just like, how do I make my camera do this thing? I think there's no shame in looking it up.
Yeah.
Like it's a practical skill that what we do. We make movies, we make videos, we make experiences. So just Googling like, hey, how do you make this transition happen? I think it's fine.
Yeah.
So what's like your creative philosophy? Like what do you think about creative people? Why you do what you do? Like just the craft and skill of being creative.
I believe creativity is like a muscle. You got to kind of practice it and work on it. And people that say they're not creative, that's the reason they're not creative, is because they think that. Mm-hmm. Like if they were to think, I can creative, I can think of things. And if they were just to take some time and like work on something or think through something, they could find a solution if it's a problem, or if they want to make something, I'm sure they could find a way.
So some people, maybe even some people we've had on this podcast before, have said that like they're afraid of what people say. And as someone who's put out a video every week for a year, I'm sure there's been talk, positive and negative.
Oh yeah.
How do you deal with it?
Well, I think that all comes down to why you're doing it. See, I put out a video every week because I want to do it, because I want to look back, and it's basically like a journal for me. So I can go back and be like, what did I do when I was 22, 23? Oh yeah, I was being an idiot jumping in dumpsters, Like, that's funny for me. Like, mm-hmm. But so it comes down to why you're doing it. I'm doing it for me, so why should I care what everyone else thinks? If it's for me, the video's for me. Why does it matter what they say? Mm-hmm. Because if you're doing it for someone else and they don't like it, it makes sense. Like
especially with like our client projects, like sometimes, especially having this job, like right now we make marketing videos, we make original content, we're trying to build a brand. If someone doesn't like it, it's kind of because like that's an important critique. Yeah. Like, oh, we just delivered a video to a client and they don't like it. We can't just be like, well, I'm an artist. Like, no, you don't get the job, dude. Like when you're doing it, for other people, like you said, like you must meet certain standards, certain approvals. But like if you're painting a picture, you're playing guitar, you're making videos, like it's direly important to understand why you're doing it. Yeah. And especially like if it's for you, for your own pleasure, then it needs to, that stuff kind of rolls off your back. But you need to be clear of like what your intention is, or else like, what are you even doing?
Yeah.
So besides just coming into the studio and seeing your bearded face. Where can people find you online?
Chill Boys in the Hood. Look it up on YouTube or Instagram. I think we have a Facebook page, but we're never on there. But yeah, that's the channel that I throw out all my videos on. So
Fair warning, it is fairly obnoxious, but it is genuinely good content. I think I'm not going to say weak, so I'm not crafting any of it, but when I'm featured, we're usually working on stuff. It's usually fun, like business related.
about 50-50.
Yeah, it's a gamble.
Yeah.
But entertaining content nonetheless. So thank you for sitting down with me.
Yeah.
It's been a good time.
All right.
I'll see you at work.
Yeah, dude. We're at work. I gotta go edit this video right now.
Oh, okay.
Bye.
Yeah. I got to go plan the next one.
Yeah.
So,
So I
yeah,
guess so.
let's just go to the office then.
Let's just go to work.